in that state where he couldn't quite make Worlds at that point. And we've seen that in seasons previous and past, that kind of like that World Championship run where it felt like Rookie had all the caliber to see himself on the very top of those mid lane rankings, but couldn't quite do it with the teams he had. With Top Esports, though, does feel like it is inevitable that they do make it to international competition at some point this year.
We only can hope. Look, there's an extra spot at MSI. We can only hope and pray that they put something in there. But we're jumping into picks and bans. Big series here today for Top Esports, because if they do win, they have locked themselves into playoffs. They locked themselves alongside EDG, LNG, and JDG to kind of, join that upper echelon of player bases. But wait to see now where everything kind of ends up lining up. Both sides kind of focus towards that top side a little bit. The Jace, the K'Sante, and the Jax. And the junglers are going to be the highest priority. I do love having TN on something that just has a very, very simple, kind of straightforward vibe. Go in, hit your ultimate, easy.
Yep. And what this also does too, LPL does this better than any other region in the world currently. The Sejuani melee lane combos have been absolutely destructive in China. So you're kind of expecting to see potentially something like Rookie's Yone coming back out again. He's had some incredible games of that. Maybe something like an Akali or Silas 2 on the table. Qingtian has typically gone towards the Jax or the K'Sante. In fact, they've banned both of them out themselves. So interested to see what Top Esports go towards on that top side. Maybe leaving that through to a little bit later in the draft, though, because, of course, bot laners have been kind of the calling card of the first parts of the draft so far. So it is going to be the probably Aphelios Lulu or Aphelios Nautilus versus the Lucian Nami. That has been kind of the handshake as we've moved on from the Zeri Lulu era.
And talk to me as well, because we not quite, yeah. Here in the LPL we certainly have, but other regions, it takes a while to catch up to #1. It's the whole thing. But looking at this kind of bot lane matchup as well, I want to kind of pick your brain. The Lucian Nami, though it's still being very favored, hasn't been seeing as much dominance in the most previous, kind of days and such like that. So I want to kind of pick your brain and say, why are we seeing less and less of this Lucian Nami combination taking over, and more kind of, alternative bot lanes like the Aphelios, like the Zayas as well, kind of coming back into fruition?
So when we saw Lucian Nami a little earlier in the split, it felt like it was against either very early dominance lanes, Draven Nautilus springs to mind, or very late game scaling compositions like the Zeri Lulu or something like the Zeri Yumi as well. So you had kind of like quite obvious places where the Lucian Nami was ahead in a game, and that meant it was quite easy for players to play through the Lucian Nami at their points of power, either at their one-item spike if you just kind of crested over those early lanes, or right from the laning phase and then kind of continuing into those spikes against something that scales a little bit later. You're trying to blow them out of the water before they get to 2 to 3 items. Against something like an Aphelios Nautilus, though, level 1 goes to Lucian Nami, then actually level 2 and 3 kind of goes to the Aphelios Nautilus. Level 6 gets a little bit strange. Both of them can fight one item, then it's kind of again flips around the place, particularly with the Bloodthirster build coming with it out with the Aphelios can actually contest on the one-item spike in some situations. You have to know this matchup very, very well, and when you have such skilled players, it allows actually both of these bot lanes to give and take throughout the entirety of the game, rather than just kind of waiting until one half of this matchup comes online.
See how they all end up going online, as we do see a couple more bans coming in. The Akali, the Silas going up against Rookie. Did you see Rookie's Orianna there the other day? The Trishana does end up being the final ban here. Yeah, always a classic. I believe Hysterix actually has a Rookie Orianna tattoo on his right shoulder or left shoulder. I can't remember which one it is, but it's very, very good piece actually. Huge, kind of encompasses the whole top of his arm. But I do like the fact that we see the Tristana ban, because with the Maokai it gives you that split damage profile. So the Yone is locked in here for Haichao, which means they're going to be able to maybe have a little bit more flexibility in where they put this top lane as well. And Qingtian has been nothing short of monstrous on anything that can even remotely carry on Top Esports here. We got himself the Renekton here to make sure he's got that very high carry probability. And it's just, I was just going to say, the melees would make sense, but you are lacking a hell of a lot of magic damage at that point. So the Rise does kind of come in, does cover them for that 1-3-1 split push.
It does. So, LGD actually coming up with a bit of an OMG-like composition. It feels like you changed the nameplates. You would see those 5 champions very regularly on one of our more unique drafting teams in the LPL. Very long-range engage from Maokai throwing down the ultimate, or Nautilus throwing in a hook. Yone being able to contribute to the engage as well. So very much with lower range champions on the side of Top Esports on their top side, need to be very aware on those level 6s to check all their angles so they're not getting engaged onto from a full screen away. On the other side, top Esports, you do have the Renekton Search 1 in your composition. Even with the Gragas on the other side being pretty good at nullifying lane, that is a place where you can get snowballed against. And if top Esports blow open the early game, as they always have managed to do, with great consistency in 2020 spring so far, they have all the tools to explode into the mid game with one-item spikes.
A lot of one-item spikes, a lot of mid-game power, as you just mentioned, and for LGD, they need to try and, I like the fact that they're going with something new. I like the fact that they're trying to go for it, because you got to remember, they're on 4-8. They're not quite out of playoffs. They are 2 series behind teams like Team WE, so they need to make sure that they are just finding as many wins as they possibly can. They have to try and make sure that they are contesting, and unfortunately, that later on in the season, you can't be picky. You cannot be choosy of who you take those wins off of. Unfortunately for them, it's got to be top Esports for today, and honestly, I really like what they've gone with right now. A lot of burst potential available between themselves, the Gragas and, and the One, so really excited what they can do. And for top Esports, look, it's as simple can be. You know how this composition goes. We've seen it a million times so far, the split. They just need to make sure they don't make too many mistakes.
Mistakes are something which actually even our top teams of the LPL, actually think about it, across the world, it doesn't feel like there is any one team which has played flawless games, the most clean kind of League of Legends. It has been in 2023 a matter which has been more about...
I'm sure T1 fans would have some words with you if
no,
you're not too careful.
The thing about T1 is that they're so good at skirmishing, it doesn't matter when they make mistakes. That's been the case in the LPL as well. We've seen that with JDG, we've seen that top Esports.
They can make mistakes,
but... Almost like these teams practice against each other all the time, Machine.
Yeah. We're treading on a fine line here. You're claiming this, I'm claiming them as an LPL team. We're going to end up as being a very bad situation for both of us. But yeah, no, I completely agree, is that it does feel like it isn't flawless League of Legends. I will say, though, it kind of... The way that the champions that are being kind of, brought into the game and stuff like that, it does feel like it's less about kind of high-level execution and more just about general macro and skirmishing power that you're able to kind of utilize at those particular points. I think it was I Will Dominate kind of made a point there a while ago on Twitter about, a couple of the different champions that used to be meta versus now. It's kind of very much about the team fights and having tools available to you versus individual skill expressions. So, and we are seeing that very much in the reflected in the kind of gameplay we're having.
Yeah. And speaking of that kind of team fight kind of importance as well, I mean, it's a different kind of individual kind of skill expression, right? We've seen laning phase was very important this season, particularly hovering over the spot side, looking at those level 1 hooks. When you have a champion like Aphelios, also comes into that team fighting phase as well. Aphelios is a champion which can really show up in those team fights. One key moment of real inspiration can be the difference between life and death in the late game. Abel has done very well in that, for instance, on that champion in the LPL. And the hook misses level 1. Is that Jack 11 mark? Gets to take control of this first wave, gets to level 2. Maybe gets to make some inroads through bot side.
Well, pretty much par for the course. Aphelios, being quite honest, is not a champion until level 2.
Nope, not at all.
He gets to swap guns. That's about it.
It makes a really fun sound effect at level 1. Sometimes it's like, when Jinx used to do that when walking into lane, just like, whoo, whoo, just switch a route. Yeah. You can do exactly the same thing with Aphelios, but you can actually do it faster on Aphelios. He has like a lower cooldown on it, so, the level 1 switching, it's incredible, honestly.
I remember when Tyr used to stack off of you switching forms, so like,
wait, really?
Jinx used to get Jinx used to get upper Q, Jason Nidalee used to get it if they transformed on their Rs.
Oh, I remember that for those two. That makes sense, actually. It's just that Jinx never built it apart from an A-Run.
Yeah, she never built it, so no one ever really cared. So it was just like, oh my gosh, she can get this, and it's just like, no one cares. You're losing too much off your credit if you're doing that.
Go back to farming, please.
It's like the Unity bug recently, actually.
Attaching to
she like attaching to you. It would give like 6 each time, which is like
it would
12
give it to the person
stats.
you're attached to as well.
Yeah,
it was,
exactly.
Our buddy Orcs who found that one out, so shout out to him being bug capture. Doing a lot of good work there.
Yeah, doing the Lord's work. As we can see, Tien being a bit of a nuisance, not farming at the moment, but just trying to make sure there is no Maokai sneaking off on the sides, and picks up the scuttle as well for his due diligence and efforts. And this is kind of par for the course that we've seen now from pretty much every time top Esports come in with these kind of laning phases. They know how to play, they know what they want to try and make work for them, and they are very, very happy just moving forward as getting those small little advantages when and where they can. But now, Meteor, he's on vision. Probably going to have to flash here. No, he's not going to bother. First blood goes over to Mark, and you shall fear the Nami with red buff.
Yeah, the Arctic is so... You absolutely will. It's actually a good point to bring up that. But Tien does a really good job of kind of CCing Meteor with like the point blank range Q, so it means that the second part of the W will just inevitably hit. It's still within the duration of the knockup. Meteor didn't really have a chance to flash away as soon as that timing came out. This has been a calling card of top esports. If they have winning lanes, they get into your jungle, they get into your lanes, and they make a real mess of the early game. Now, LGD, of all of our kind of mid to bottom table teams, they've been one of the teams which have probably struggled a little bit more with the early game. Even some of our lower tier teams have found some ways to play through that early game. They've typically had to hang on and team fight. Top esports, not necessarily the easiest team to do that against, though, and falling behind. Not something that they'll want to allow to get too out of control.
Covering Meteor to make sure he does not only lose his side blue, but he's got top scuttle as well, so Tien will not be able to contest against that one there, and everyone just kind of backs themselves away, very happy to just continue the laning phase as is. Rookie was thinking about a bit of a recall there, has sitting on negative mana, feels like at the moment, so just wants to get this wave pushed in, then go for his, I imagine, Catalyst of Aeons, and of course the tier as well, to start both stacking as quickly as possible.
What I really like there is you had that ward in the bottom side of the mid lane rush. And it's like that ward is there not just for anyone. It is there to protect against the red buff Nami. Again, just wherever this fish roams, you must be so afraid. Like, it's not like she has slows in her kits already, but, you know, early red buff actually really kind of annoying. But as you can see, Jinzhou, LPC, taking control of this wave, sadly not being able to catch out Jackalove in that momentary 2v1. But as things are standing right now, see that once again, Qingtian kind of left alone on an island as a wave. A lot of our top laners have been in this split. Not every team has really played through that top side. We had it a little bit at the very start of the year with a lot of Jax play. It's fallen off a little bit so far, though. Active taking a lot of priority. Junglers kind of getting back onto the map. And Tien going to find Meteor out again in the river.
Going to find him. Rookie will move himself down here and just cover his jungler. So they might actually look for a bit of a push on this bot side. You got to be very aware of this now as LGD, because LPC and Jinzhou did have a great push into Jackie Love and Mark, as Mark was going and roaming around to see if he could find maybe an opportunity with that red buff, which is now expired. But can't really be giving yourself too many moments like that where you're pushing in really far. And so for LGD, they're kind of setting around this bar. They're roaming around like a little bit of a protective unit, like a turtle. You know, you got to turtle it out until you figure out if it's safe or not.
Yeah, funnily enough, pretty sure I heard Mazal talking a lot about turtle shells a little early on. So see if this turtle shell work itself out. It's a big wave to be fighting in. Not sure LGD want to be here.
They're going to jump the grab him already. LPC forced the flash, otherwise that Aqua Prison was dead on the mark. Yone roaming down to Haichao, just trying to cover his lane. But again, this is a lot of resources just being pulled down, almost like gravity towards this bot side, because top esports know there could be something here, and LGD don't want whatever the hell they're selling. Yeah.
But it is also kind of well played by top esports for not overplaying that situation. They could have gone a bit harder, maybe committed some of those flashes, tried to chase after the FLS. They didn't do that. Haichao did have the first roam, so top esports understanding what was happening with the mid lane priority as well. What that has meant, though, is that because Haichao has been... Oh, I think so. Good trade there. But yeah, you can see that Haichao dropped a bit of farm. Oh, that's actually a bit more than a trade topside.
Not that good. Oh, he almost goes down, loses splash there. Xiaoshu almost gets himself the kill there. A little bit of an unfortunate moment with the extra healing available. Qingtian is behind the wall. Will Xiaoshu look for him? Oh, the flash in! No! Xiaoshu shall not be getting anything in this top side, and now maybe a bit of a move here in this bot side. No 6 for Meteor or Tien, but you've got Rookie thinking about coming in here. There's the Fate Shield, and you're isolated here, Tien. He wants to get over the wall, he flashes, but is it going to be enough? I don't think it is! The Realm Warp will do nothing for him. And that's going to be a kill traded back here as Tom Esports do end up getting themselves a 1-for-1 trade overall.
Yeah, so we're going to start up with this topside trade. Renekton has been a real specialty pick of many top laners in this season. Gragas, though, has seemed to be a bit of a skill matchup. We've seen the likes of 369 do a heck of a lot of work in this matchup. Qingtian, though, you start saying this as we're kind of walking into this game. Qingtian, on anything which has kind of agency, has done so well. Massively out mind games for Xiaoshu on this top side. And he's been having a more than fine split himself. Just Qingtian outplaying him in the moment. This one, though, just like Tian, overestimating his safe boundaries. Yes, has the Sejuani passive. Yes, has the Aftershock. Probably still doesn't want to be going into that 1v3, 1v4. Not able to get out of that one. And, not quite connected with the rest of his team to push out that bot side and join him in that bot side debate.
A bit of an unfortunate one there for the top esports jungler, but again, I can't praise this man enough up here in top lane. Jingtian has just shown time and time again that he is just such a presence to behold in almost all senses of the word in this top lane, really just coming out with individual advantages, and it's the fact that he can go for that. Most, if not all, other top laners in the existence of top lane would walk away going, wipe the sweat from my brow, good and delighted that this one went our way, boys, not too unhappy with that one, but then he doesn't let that happen. He drops a ward.
Oh, good hook.
Stop myself. Great hook, going to force the cleanse out. Great Active Prison forces LPC to use his. And we can see there, nice equaling of the healing coming out. Mark uses his summoner heal, and a lot of summoners burn, but no one burning any flashes just at the moment.
Yeah, so it's going to be the combat. Oh, good ult back from Jackie Love.
It's returning the damage, making sure it's an equal enough trade. When you have an Abby in your lane, it means that you're able to stay because you got that sustain.
Well, you do have the Vamp Scepter on the Aphelios, but you have to have access to minions for that, so not going to be easy to completely soak up all of that healing. But LPC, good job there to actually get a 3-up and switch off. Goes through the Infernum, goes into his other weapons. Jackalope Mark, they pushed in the wave. Does not mean they are safe, though. Tian has done a good job of battle warding out where the Maokai is on the map. Saw him run into Meteor last time around that top side, just after that Herald was taken, which means that Jackalope and Mark do have kind of process elimination, understanding that this Maokai is going towards this bot side. Meteor not going to take his camp right now, takes off that Dragon. There's going to be a Herald for Dragon trade in the long side of things, but Xiaoshu is alone in the turret because of this.
He has got his ultimate. Will he be able to get it out in time? He will not. That's a simple, easy dive, and I love that we mentioned it a little bit earlier, but it has been a speciality within the LPL of just teams being able to just utilize these melee Sejuani combinations so effectively.
It does feel like that has been. If you were going to say, what is the LPL doing differently or prioritizing more than anywhere else in the world, it has been the Sejuani plus picks like the Renekton. Despite top lane not being the first protocol for carry options, one visit top lane, like we've just seen there from Tian, can an awful lot. You see that the Herald is actually not dropped in top side. I think that's the correct decision from Tian as well. You know that that lane is already going well, CS advantage, solo kill, extra kill coming into turret. No point ending that laning phase top side by crushing through that turret with the Herald, when actually you're already winning in this current state. Much more important to get that gold on some like a rookie or a Jackalope.
Well, more pressure in this mid lane means we're going to see Rookie might look to try and claim that one up, but LGD are here.
How does
Great
that hit?
It gets full range, the fate sealed. Rookie still tanking up a fair bit of this one there. The tidal wave comes over, and they're not going to trade that one back. Tien just has nowhere to go, no flash really, and that's going to be 2 swift kills going up for the Yone. 3-0 now for Hangzhou. He's building into a little bit of a mid-game monster, and these are the mistakes that we were talking about for top esports. These are the small little moments where they just randomly overstep and they give over opportunities.
And it's also a part of what we're talking about in terms of the bot lane meta having changed. Jin Zhao on the Nautilus, able to get out of lane versus the Lucian Nami, able to get one of these plays started off, and the Nautilus getting towards mid lane. You see how much value it gets, and shutting down the Rise and allowing the Yone it being to kind of get into the play much more effectively. And now with those 3 kills, as you were rightly saying, this Yone is going to be a huge threat.
Little mistakes are really plaguing top esports right now. They are still 2,500 gold ahead. Like, they should be, you know, considering how the laning phase is gone. You can see a 40 CS lead in top, 10 CS lead in mid, 30 in bot. This is massive CS advantages and tower plates as well to boot, but it's those little things that are keeping this game relevant. It's making sure that Hangzhou gets up to his first item, but, you know, on item parity. It's making sure LPC now has the Bloodthirster available to him. So these little things can mean the world of difference. Jingtian tank up a little bit of the turret. Has got 2 levels over Xiaoshu. Really and dominating up in this top lane. Yeah, and the item.
Yeah, because despite having cooldown boots, actually giving a good amount of fighting prowess to someone like the Gragas, Gordon a bit more impactful in this case. Allows Jingtian to have that extra active, extra damage, extra everything, really. And yeah, this top lane, you don't have to visit this again now. You've given that one gank, already has that huge lead, and it means you can take over that top side of the map, which can help when you're setting up for other areas of the map as well. The Gragas can't respond as easily to the map. Here's the Maokai ult.
Yeah, Maokai is still going to clip on the Jackie. The Fate Seal lands on the 2, and they're going to drag back to the end. They're still getting knockups. They're still getting damage. And there's a great Aphelios ult that just cleans up another one. Why, Rookie? Why? You not need to go back on that. You were out. Triple kill going over to LPC. And LGD are just punishing Top Esports for just straight up being lazy.
And they're playing around their own power spikes at the same time. Both of them are coinciding. They're taking fights when they have the items to do so. You called out that Bloodthirster on the Aphelios a little earlier, and allows you to have the extra damage, the one-item spike, in very important plays like this. Meteor, Yoanhei, the both of them combo up as well with this long-range engage. LPC has absolute shooting gallery to fire off that Moonlight Vigil, fire off that Infernum, and this is one of the big reasons we're seeing much more and more of the Aphelios Nautilus coming through. It allows you to fight at a point of power where you expect the Lucian Nami to be strongest, and it gives you the ability to take fights like these.
Massive, massive moment there. With the Bloodthirster, we are seeing that rush now coming in a lot more often than not, but not going towards his Heinen Quiver item just yet either. Picking up what I imagine to be an Infinity Edge second.
Infinity Edge second, yes. Yeah.
Yeah, so
it's all about the burst, baby.
All about the crit. All about the crit coming into this one here, and doesn't honestly. I kind of like it as well because he's got Cleanse, so the only thing that can really catch him out would be the Glacial Prison coming up from the Sejuani. So if he has that, he doesn't really need the Gale Force immediately. He should be able to kind of reposition himself, and having something like the Nautilus as well to keep him relative in place should be decent enough.
What it also means as well is, so, for those of you that don't know, when Aphelios casts his ult, as soon as the particle lands, it actually does a follow-up auto attack as part of the ability. So you don't necessarily need attack speed. You can just kind of like cycle through your abilities in your ultimate, and you actually get a lot of damage off. You can also crit with that too. You don't necessarily need to build up a big amount of attack speed. Hangzhou might want some speed to get out of here. He's just going to die, maybe.
Yeah, he's going to be able to get himself out and away with the Immortal Steel Bow. There's actually a TP coming in as well. Tien going to have to use his ultimate just to make sure they can't really follow back up. But a good Bramble Smash means they get 2 knock-up. Tien has to die. 1 and 4 now on this. Sejuani has just been called on every single bluff, and that's more priority for LGD. Not only that, but they're getting themselves back up. Remember, it was a 2,500-3,000 gold lead. So they only about 1,000, and this is getting harder and harder for Top Esports to maintain.
And to call back to what we've been saying the whole game, it feels like Top Esports, when they're losing these plays, it's off of plays where they're being fairly aggressive, they're posturing aggressively, and this top side, again, over-pushing a little bit with Xingtian and Tien in that top side. As much as you're strong around this Renekton, the engage range from LGD and the teleports coming in make it so easy to come to this play. And when you've got something like a Nami roaming to this play, it's not nearly the same as having a Nautilus as well. You see that Marcus just around the corner trying to bail out something for Top Esports on this top side, make it into a 3v3, but not there in time, doesn't have the ability to impact this play. Nearly the same as what LGD are bringing to bear, and LGD really calling the bluff of Top Esports multiple times in this game.
I think that's just the best way to put it. And look, you know, you are getting to a point now where second items will be coming in here for LGD's carries. This is 304. Hangzhou, he has had full 100% kill participation, and killing topside meant Shelly gets them taken away. Not having your jungler meant you couldn't rush and trade back for a dragon. Rookie will do significant damage here on the Xiaoshu, but Shelly gets the trade off.
Ooh,
so close. What is that on? That has to be on like 2 HP. That's on negative HP right now. There's no way. That's the most upsetting thing I think I've seen all day, but the day has just begun. We come back in now and we see where these two teams want to go for it. Again, it's a lot easier for this fight for LGD. They've got the Maokai, they've got the Nautilus to make things happen.
Oh. Yeah, and they've actually just started to... Oh, Xingtian's way caught out here.
So they're going to have to pop the Dominance and getting caught out here with the Fate Seal as well. And with that fantastic Maokai ult to try and stop everybody else from moving forward. We will see Hangzhou unfortunately getting caught out on the backside. This Meteor almost drops as well. And despite this being Xingtian getting caught out, it is going to be Xiaoshu maybe looking for a flash belly slam. Now knows that Rookie is here, so doesn't really want to fully commit to it. They're trying to sneak away this dragon, but it's not going to happen. And Top Esports secured themselves that objective. So again, Top Esports still have damage. You just need to do that. Clean up the fights. Make sure they're not going too crazy. They're going to go in there with a little bit of an engage onto Jin Zhao, but not really going to make anything else happen from it. Yeah, very good to get the Aphelios Gravitum gun out. And they use a lot of ultimates. Don't gain anything purchased from it.
Yeah, I was Yeah, seeing Rookie kind of teleporting in there, I was wondering if there's anything more to be played around, but when you've got the Moonlight Vigil, again, with so much AD early from Bloodthirst, the VF Sword, LPC was ready to absolutely turn and burn with an Infernum AoE ultimate coming through. And you can see actually both these teams in both those kind of states, in the lead up to the Dragons for the top, and then just afterwards from LGD. Both of these teams able to play the defense of these kind of aggressive plays fairly well. As you're saying, top Esports, they still actually do have the damage. You can't underestimate that. It's just them being over-pushed so far. And as much as we're talking about, top Esports making mistakes, being called to account a little bit, they're still in a point of power. They're at their one-item spike for their composition, and they're still a little bit ahead in that gold. So LGD, maybe not bold enough to kind of run away with this game just yet and make all of the aggressive plays. Not quite in position to do so, but as things come around to this next set of resets, getting ever closer and closer to that two-item spike, where you do kind of feel like LGD, the next time that kind of play happens, they should have much more ability to outplay what top Esports bring.
Yeah, look, obviously, top Esports are still ahead on gold. They got the Dragon as well, so one apiece on that. But it just feels like the momentum of the plays right now are very much in favor of LGD. It does feel like even when top Esports are going for something a bit more aggressive, going to try and, as you say, make those big plays, it doesn't feel like they're the ones coming out on top of this one. Xingtian may be in a bit of trouble if he stays too long, but knows himself, has his own little top laner sixth sense. There's more than one person around, and I need to back away. So gets himself here. So now, obviously, coming into 20 minutes and 30 seconds, mid-game is very much being hit. Where do you want to see LPG kind of come into this? They've been able to kind of keep themselves relevant. They're not falling too far behind. What do you want to see from them to try and really put pressure here on top Esports?
You're looking to hyper push in with the Aphelios and the Yone, and then you'll have your Maokai hanging on whatever side of the map that they're on as well. Kind of having them kind of be between the two lanes which are pushing in. Whereas it's really a Xiaoshu just kind of playing defensive side of the matchup, just as like he's doing right now. He's the player which doesn't really get to push in and have fun. At this point in the game, you're looking to put down Maokai saplings, you're looking to play around your Aphelios weapons, and just kind of make it hard for top Esports to get on top of these lanes, which they've been trying to aggress onto. Meteor is being the bulwark, which allows LGD to push in across the map, whichever lane assignment they choose to do.
Yeah, I love what you mentioned about Xiaoshu just kind of being the soaker, if you will, of pressure in those side lanes, because he's actually he's just gone for
trees. Trees are actually very good to do that. It's like kind of like the whole thing.
You know what? We're in a funny mood. We're in a silly goose vibe to the timeline today. But for Xiaoshu in particular, he has gone for that more defensive build. We have seen kind of more people, maybe not so much in top lane, but definitely in the jungle, go for that AP build. Can see it a lot more in the top lane, but this is just basically, he knows his role in this team fight. It is to just soak up as much of this damage as he possibly can. And with a second item being finished up here for LPC, 2 items here, parity for him. He's still behind Jackie Love, who's got himself a straight Dirk as well. So definitely a lot of kill potential here for the top Esports AD carry, but plenty of damage available for LPC should he find himself in a good opportunity to use it.
Yeah, worth noting that Fire Cannon is a very cheap item, 2,600 gold, as opposed to, like your 3,200 odd mark for the Infinity Edge, or whatever it is. It's something close to that, 3,400. I can't remember.
I think it's 3,400.
I think it's 3,400. I was like 300. No, that's a bit cheap. Either way, it's more expensive than what's coming out of that Fire Cannon. It is still a 2.5 item spike. Lucian likes to go for these slightly earlier spiking items to kind of keep himself in that moment of power. Is that going to be enough, though, to fight off against LGD coming in with their 2 item spikes across the board? See that Xiaoshu at least able to hold this wave in top side right now. We have Dragon spawning in that next minute. Meteor actually got a cheeky scuttle secure just as the rest of his team was on a reset. I was a little bit worried he was going to be caught out in River just that 1 minute ago, but he was able to secure that Scuttle Shrine. Gives the team of LGD a bit more ability to secure some of that vision, a bit more ability to, again, set up that bulwark, which allows your Aphelios to stand and fight, fire off that really heavy burst combo, and maybe give Hangzhou the ability to make a team fight winning engage.
This is now turned into a proper wet noodle fight, as Xingtian actually putting himself in a decent position to just try to make sure Xiaoshu doesn't just get to creep clean in the lane. Double items completed for Hangzhou and LPC. No, I don't think they can go for it just yet. It would be very risky to do so, and I think top Esports agree with me, but you got the Bloodthirster now finished up for Hangzhou, Infinity Edge here for LPC, as we mentioned earlier.
They're realistically looking at it. They're 2-manning right now. I think they're just trying to pull Hangzhou's teleport. That's the real goal of this. You have a tank, you can tank this for as long as you want. How quickly can they pull this teleport? They're not killing it that quickly. It looks like Hangzhou can just walk up. I'm not sure top.
I was going to say.
Surely you're not flipping this.
No, don't call me Shirley. We're going to see LGD just trying to get a little bit of engage on the backside of this one here. They will be grabbing him down as well. The Fate Seal, they're trying to kill off TN. There's Hangzhou trying to go back in on the backside, and he'll pick up himself a kill before going down. It is the jungler, though. Big shutdown going over to Jackalope is pretty huge, though, for Top Esports. A dominant crocodile flash forward by Rookie as he looks to try and catch out Hangzhou, and he will secure another one for his team. It's a 3v4. You don't have your jungler, though. I don't know if you can go for this dragon just yet, but they are doing so much damage. It's insane what Jackalope can do with this Lucian.
Yeah, seriously good turnaround to cycle through all those double shots onto Hangzhou as he made his engage. Big shutdown to get from that fight as well. Said it before, Top Esports, they've had the damage. It just looked like it was going to get eclipsed a little bit once these items were reached, but credit to Top Esports, realizing that LGD, when they had been winning fights, it had been when they had been responding to the play. They had been the ones making the big aggressive plays, and in this first time of them really pulling the trigger first, they don't quite hit the mark. The Nami tidal wave does an awful lot of disengage value, and LGD can't quite land themselves the kill close though. Well, they do get themselves a one, but the 1-for-1 with the shutdown definitely goes in favor of Top.
I will say LGD didn't lose a huge amount of summoners in that, just the flash of Jin Zhao, and then unfortunately the lives of Jin Zhao and Hangzhou. So definitely seeing a little bit more power coming out for Top Esports. They get themselves a second Drake. They bring themselves up to 2,000 gold in the lead, and this is where the game starts to fizzle out a bit for LGD. And we talked about LGD kind of, improving as a team. They are a team that definitely need to make sure that they're not making those mid-game mistakes. They definitely saw an opportunity to kill off Tien, and Water went a little bit red there as maybe it wasn't the greatest of ideas to try and burst out the very, tanky Sejuani, but we'll see what they can do now, and there's still plenty of opportunities here for LGD to make Top Esports work for whatever they want to go for. Speaking of working, Top Esports here might try and really hard force around this Baron. They've got such great Baron taking potential as well that it would be very difficult.
There's a flash on LPC, but remember, if you get empowered W from Qingtian, it does cancel through shit. They're pulling out the fight anyway.
Yeah, they're going to go for an LPC. Flashes and cleanses. The tower will go down. Qingtian gets barreled back into everybody as Jin Zhao is going to be taken out of the backside of this one here. So it's a 1-for-1 trade, but you lost all your summoners off your AD carry.
You also lose your mid lane out of turret, which of course would have been lovely to hang on to, especially if things were going to go towards this Baron, go towards more objective play, as they tend to do in mid to late game League of Legends. Tien going forward again.
LPC's fully regened all his HP, and he's huge. He's massive. He's going to shred you. And that's just Top Esports not taking stock of the situation, not having full information. And now LGD, they can take the Baron.
They can, because you have the Severum and the Bloodthirster for LPC's Aphelios. He's going to get 100% HP with a huge overshield as soon as he gets an ability to auto-attack anything. And it's now been two incredibly important plays in a row where once again, LGD get to respond to the play. They get to peel back around the Aphelios, and it is a very close run thing. This time the Severum ult comes through for the extra lifesteal involved with it. And Top Esports feels like whenever they're diving into the comp of LGD, they are the ones getting punished for it. That's going to cost them an awful lot now.
Red Buff with the honey fruit just makes it so... LPC comes back in and says, hello, I never left. Thought I recalled and I did not. Even if he's not there, to be perfectly honest, we'll probably get these 2 kills anyway. And just really, really poor decision-making from Top Esports. They're getting a good trade. They're getting decent, setups for themselves. And then it just feels like they're throwing the baby out with the bathwater. They're not thinking about what's happening next.
I think, I'm not going to call it autopiloting or kind of defaulting to what they've successfully done beforehand, but I think actually I want to revisit what's happening with this bot lane matchup again, because Top Esports are one of the best teams in the world, even, at playing around one item spike on the Lucian Nami, which is one of the most powerful power spikes within the last year or two of League of Legends. Everyone's seen it multiple times at this point, despite teams not always having the ability to pull it off. Top Esports have typically been in a position where they can dash forward and burst someone out very effectively. When you see LGD's composition, though, when they have the Maokai for the disengage, you have the Aphelios actually being able to turn around an awful lot of damage at the same point in time where Lucian Nami is power spiking, it feels like Top Esports, the plays which would have worked out earlier in the year for them, aren't bringing them the same rewards here.
Yeah, the bacon is not that great right now. It's been sitting in the fridge a while. You thought it'd be all right if you cooked it. it's not looking great right now for Top Esports, and they're now behind. I don't know where I'm going with this. I've been listening to Hysterics a bit too much. It's got to roll with it. You got to roll with it. I think it's because I literally had a batch of bad bacon.
I was about to say, it's like if we had like a vegetarian tag on the stream, that's to go. I'm sorry, like it's gone.
Why would we have a vegetarian?
I don't know, but if we did, we no longer have it, Sheen.
Marketing. That's all what it is. Oh man. But yes. Okay. Coming into this one,
the dawn of the hot pot era.
Oh. I missed the hot pot. I miss Jarvan Rumbles. That was a great time in League of Legends history. But coming back into this one here, 60 seconds till the dragon spawns. It is LGD now basically equal on gold. They've got 3 items, actually 4 items here for Jackalove. So despite everything, he still has a 40 CS lead. And it's going to be all about how you utilize this Baron, and they're going to utilize it to try and maybe catch out people on bot side. Difficult to really make that one work without a wave. You got Charles, the cannon minion, buffed up and doing God's work on this bot lane turret. So they're going to be able to trade this one though on the top side. So it's still an equal trade here for Top Esports. They could still come out with a pretty decent fight if Jackalove can keep himself safe and relative.
Yeah, we've seen this a lot in the LPL, where the first Baron buff is taken and you're not kind of at threat of losing inhibitor. You will see a cross-map advantage, because particularly with competitions like LGD, diving into them is very difficult. Top might not have a chance to, we might not have a choice.
Well, they're going to go in. Tien not even close to getting that sealed. There is the Moonlight Vigil as they get themselves a fake seal. Really nicely done, and they've caught out Jackalove. That is the highest DPS member of your team. Qingqian trying to make something work. Great explosive cast. Separates everybody out from LPC. And despite Qingqian's best efforts, he shall not be getting anything. LGD really well played in this particular fight. Really well played around the dragons. And they get themselves almost everything they could have ever wanted.
And those 4 items on Jackalove mean nothing when he's dead, when he's the first target picked off. You can see how much easier it is to play around your AD carries LGD.
Oh, Rookie gets caught. He's going to have a fair bit of a time trying to escape from this one here. Does have the phase rush and is running around fairly quickly with Mark there to heal him up and speed him up. He should be able to keep himself alive, but that delays 2 members of Top Esports from defending bot lane, which means the base has been cracked open, Nymera.
Yeah, so it is actually the solo laners of LGD somehow capitalizing on that situation without the ready carry on that bot side to take down that bot lane inhibitor turret. LGD, again, finding real success when they are the ones who get to kind of sit back, allow the first engage to come through, and then follow up. Huge Nautilus ult, which just makes it a sitting duck engage for Hangzhou Yone to finally make one of those really big team fight plays, which we've been kind of waiting to see this Yone. And of course, the back end of this as well, if LPC doesn't die at the start of the fight, the damage advantage is hugely in LGD's favor.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a difference in my AD carries alive, yours isn't. That's it. That's as simple as it is right there.
It's like, oh yes, you have items which are not being used right now. They are in fact dead.
Yeah, it's a very simple maths equation. 8,000 gold here versus not here. It's very simple. But coming back into this one now, you can see 4-0 and 4. LPC has been an error for Top Esports to try and kill off in these team fights and in the sidelines, to be perfectly honest as well, as they've been making as much as they possibly can work. 3 items on the way now for the top laner of Xiaoshu, and everyone's trying to make things work. And it does feel like, again, it's Top Esports, again, we'll see them, even if they lose this game, we'll see them come back in Game 2. They'll completely be reformed, and they'll probably smash in Game 3. We'll see what kind of happens from there. But right now,
the glory of best of threes.
It is a glory of best of threes. But it feels like right now, Top Esports are just not on the same page. They're not really going for the same level of plays together. Tien goes for a steal. No one else really commits with him. Jackalove's unsure about where he wants to go. Rookie kind of has to realm warp in rather than using the realm warp to chase after he's gotten himself a kill. It's all very disconnected right now for the side of Top Esports. I need to see them just kind of hone it in, bring it back, and become a team.
It's great that you mentioned that, because it felt like the difference maker between Top and the other top teams in the LPL was that they were more connected in the early game. They beat down EDG by being better at being connected with the rest of their team, having a stronger early game in that regards. But in this game, they haven't managed to problem solve their way out of this Aphelios problem, this Yone Maokai problem, which have both been 2 factors of LGD being able to kind of soak up the initial engage combo back onto them. And top Esports, as much as it feels like their macro play has seen them some advantages, they are still within arm's reach. They've still got themselves good amount of items. Oh, Hangzhou's actually caught out here.
Hangzhou is caught out here. He's going to use the fate seal, but he's not going to land it onto anybody of significance. And that's a very quick little kill. And again, look at the gold. It's never gone more than 1,000 in favor of LGD. So this game is definitely not confirmed for them right now. Yes, they have their carries and they have 4 items in their Felio, but this game is not done.
Absolutely not. A couple more chapters left to be written in this one. LPC still soaking up farm in this mid-wave. Has himself 4 items, and Jackie Love is almost at the limits of what he can do as the champion as well. We already knew that the fellows at some point would start doing more damage. Despite being behind in items, that has been the case for a little while now. Top Esports also playing with that Renekton. We know that Renekton falls off eventually, despite the ability to kind of dive into enemy carries. If it's not the Prowler's Claw lethality build, can really struggle to make those heroic plays in late game fights. So top Esports, they have to resort to something else. They're resorting to the Baron. Here we go again.
Let's try for it. Doesn't look like they want to fully commit to it. You can see already they're backing away. They do not want to repeat any shenanigans here, as LGD know that they are in a very powerful position.
But here's the revenge. So Hangzhou has that teleport onto the Baron. Who else is teleporting? Everyone's coming to the play. LGD pulling in the play.
Here we go, 6,000 HP, 5,000 hook. Jules Lamb is on the TN. Can they burst him out before anything else? Yes, Jungler dead. Now can you jump back on the Qingtian? It's all separated. It's 1 after 1. They're walking to their death right now. Nightmare, double kill for Jinzhou. That's a bloodthirsty support. And again, top Esports, they don't know if they want to come or they want to go. They don't know.
And LGD, where has this team been for the entirety of spring? We've seen them have some bright moments in their recent series, but a continuation of a real building of form for this team, which is currently outside of that playoffs bracket. They have to start picking up something. Rookie trying to make a really strange counterplay, actually. Going to teleport the minions with him to take a couple of minutes turrets. That is one way to get a power play back against them. He's going to die for the attempt, but LGD still coming out with a huge victory in the brig play.
Yeah, he's going to die. We know this to be sure. As I say that, he might take shout here. But yeah, it should be pretty easy now for them to confirm kill. There is the shutdown. 0, 3, and 4 right now for Rookie. And I will say he's still doing exceptional work on those side lanes, but it does feel like LGD just have... LGD may not be the better individual players, but LGD right now are the better team. In terms of team play, in terms of committing to a call and going for the, as a whole, cohesive unit, it's LGD 100% of the time.
Yeah, and they had a much better read on the macro situation there. Oh, those Sentinel turrets do so much work. It's Caliber and Crescendum. Very long-range combo from that Aphelios. You cannot walk into those turrets. It's just another added factor of difficulty. How do you engage onto the Aphelios? You've got to get him somehow.
I mean, they need the rise. You got to feel like the ultimate's all coming out. There's the Moonlight Vigil on top of the Maokai.
Oh!
The Nami turned into sushi right there. They got to find something. Qingtian can't survive. Neither can Tien. Jackie Love has nowhere to go. It's a triple kill to LPC, and game number 1 goes to LGD. They had a plan. They made sure they punished top Esports, and they deservedly come out with the advantage.
LGD seriously impressing in this first game. Managing to hold down Tien to the point where he didn't just run over the game in the way that we've seen him do so many times in Spring 2023 so far. And when it hit mid-game, when they had this powerful Aphelios, that Aphelios always felt like they were the difference maker in the fight. It was hard to shut down the Aphelios. It was hard to force them out of an area